this. If you thought the ammo shortages of 2020 were bad, what do you think World War III is going to do? It's Prepperines here. This is a spur of the moment video that there's an announcement coming on the 9th. Everyone's talking about that it could be Russia. Everyone's saying that it's, about their Vday. So a little bit of history on that. The actual Vday was May 8th, but Russia, being the way that they were, are, and always will be, wanted it in writing themselves. And they wanted it in Russian writing. So they had all the German surrendees taken over there to sign their name on the document in Russian. So there's a little bit of history for you. But secondary to that is an announcement coming from the United States, and it's about the Lend-Lease Act. There's an announcement coming on the 9th, but I don't think it's from the Russians, it's from the United States. And I said that this announcement was probably going to piss off a lot of 2A people. But if you Google Lend-Lease Act, pretty much the first thing that's going to come up on your Google browser is from ukrinform.net. So if you click on that, it says U.S. President Joe Biden will sign the Ukraine Democracy Defense Lend-Lease Act on Monday, May 9th. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said this at a briefing on Friday. The Ukraine Democracy Defense Lend-Lease Act was passed last month by both chambers of the U.S. Congress. The Senate unanimously supported the document on April 6th, and the House of Representatives voted for the measure on April 28th. According to the procedure, the President of the United States has 60 days to sign the bill after he receives it. As reported, the document allows the U.S. President to use military Lend-Lease program to speed up the transfer of weapons, military equipment, medicine, food, etc. to the Ukraine. It's expected that the recipient country will pay their costs later. The military Lend-Lease program was used during World War II, and it allowed the United States to provide weapons to its allies quickly. So, the next thing you should probably do is go look up Lend-Lease on Wikipedia. It's not always right. When I say right, it's not always accurate, but here's what it says. So it talks here about President Roosevelt when he signed it in. And there's a couple words here that are pretty interesting as far as how they used it back then. So when you read through that and how they used it, to me, it sounds like it's our announcement that it's on like Donkey Kong. Pretty much to me is what it sounds like, is that it's on like Donkey Kong. The United States is basically going to announce that it's on. World War III is on. Now, it's not an outright display of war, although there have already been outright displays of war and the news that have been breaking in the recent days. But Lend-Lease effectively ended the United States' pretense of neutrality, which had been enshrined in the Neutrality Acts of the 1930s. It was a decisive step away from non-interventional policy and toward open support for the Allies. So we know that Ukraine is not a member of NATO, and we know that Russia has basically said, if you guys continue to support, it will be seen as an act of aggression. So we've been touting that we've been taking out his generals, that we sunk the gem of his fleet. So we're kind of like, we're kind of just poking the bear, as it were. And now comes this, an announcement from America, not outright, but if you are a student of history, and if you're not, if you have the frickin' internet and can look it up and read between the lines, read between those lines, because that's what America's throwing up to the big man over there. So how's this going to affect us? That's your question, right? Okay, so here's the part you guys are going to want to listen to. This inevitably produced shortages of related products needed by the military or as part of the military industrial complex. So what does that mean for us? What do you think it means? You know, I don't remember the last time I went looking for a tank or, you know, an F-15 or a Javelin. But yeah, in this crowd, you know, we like to practice and we like to do upgrades, and telling you, all those resources are going to be diverted towards arming our allies. And from what that previous, you know, the first article I read said it was just for the Ukraine. Maybe so, maybe not. Either way, you're gonna see, well, I'll just say this. If you thought the ammo shortages of 2020 were bad, what do you think World War III is gonna do? And if Biden is using this the way that Roosevelt did, as a step away from, you know, staying out of people's business, then pretty much May 9th is the announcement of World War III. So, but it's also a strategic play because we're poking the bear and we're waiting for the bear to react. The question is, how will you react? What are you gonna do? Because the way that this is done is strategic also for the American people. They're not gonna realize what's going on. And then again, maybe I'm effed up here. Maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm reading in between the lines too much. But take a page from history.